Hey my friend, this is Joe Bakhmoutski, author of Simplified Cancer and founder of Power to Be Happy. Listen, I think it would be fair to say that we all go through challenging times in our life. And that's why we really want to be able to build up resilience. We want to become more resilient to challenges that we face in the times of uncertainty. Because we want to be able in a position when if those things do come up, if they do happen, that they don't knock you off your feet. And even if they do, so that you're able to get back up quicker. And that is what resilience is all about. And this is true to both challenges that come up ahead of you. Challenges that you want to be able to work around or to find a way forward. But also it's true for things that have happened in the past, towards maybe, kind of traumatic events that have occurred in your past, where you want to be able to move on despite everything that's happened. And that's what really brings these two things together. Things that you've got ahead of you, the challenges that you must find a way around, but also towards events in the past that you want to be able to move on despite everything that's happened, is the fact that they both are looking towards the future. That's what resilience really is. It's finding a way forward despite everything that might be holding you back or making your life difficult. What trouble is, whenever something comes up, right, oftentimes we just kind of rush in. We rush into action and we instantly try to do something about it. And the trouble with that is that sometimes we end up doing the thing that isn't necessarily right. We end up doing something that might not be the best way around it, right? It's kind of like you might be really great at following directions when you're driving, but it's of no use when you have the wrong address, right? So we really want to be able to look at things in a clear way. We really want to have that, really clear view of exactly what's happening, so you can really look at situation and assess it properly. You want to be able to weigh up your options, what you can possibly do, and so that you have enough to make the decisions about what you need to do next, right? And finding that clarity, is not always easy. Right? Because our judgment is often clouded by, it's, like sometimes we see things that we want to see. Sometimes we probably see things that other people want you to see. Sometimes maybe we are affected by things that have happened in the past, and they affect how we look at things. We may not even see the full picture. It might even just be like the tip of the iceberg. So we kind of take things out of context or jump to conclusions. So I think the crucial thing is to really to find clarity. And for me, what really comes to mind is the time when I was in the hospital getting my chemotherapy treatment, and I was there for weeks, and I would typically the way my normal routine in the hospital would start is I would get up in the morning, they'd put me onto the drip and get all the chemo drugs to flow in, and in the morning I would typically feel great, and then like as the day progressed I would feel more and more kind of just smashed with all the drugs kind of just kicking in. So I was kind of fine in the morning, and then towards the afternoon things would kind of start to kind of drop, and then by the evening I was just completely out of it. And right next to me was the guy who was getting the same treatment, right? Only probably just slightly ahead of me. And what's interesting is that he always had people over. He always had, like, especially in the morning and afternoon, he had his friends, he had his family, and it was great. Like, it was great support for him. And I knew that, like, for my family, like, they were just not able to be there all the time. But I was kind of really, jealous, just looking at him going, this is great. Like, what about my friends? Like, because I did let people know, right? Like, I did let everyone know. I sent everyone an email saying, hey, I'm going to be in hospital this and this date, getting treatment. So I was just kind of hoping that people would come and see me. And because the people were not getting in touch, and I was kind of like, what's happening? Like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, it kind of it hit me, right? Like, because I'm in the hospital, right? So there's all this fancy medical equipment around it, so they must be jamming the signal, right? So that it doesn't interfere with all of the equipment, right? So I thought, well, and that's what's happening, right? Like, people just can't get through. So I wanted to test my theory. So I decided to go find a landline and just call my mobile from that. So I got up from my bed, and I was dragging my drip, like it was on this kind of pole stick with wheels. I was just dragging it behind me like ball and chain, which was which was just weird. And I was just dragging myself around like a zombie into our main oncology ward. I just walked out there, and I was just kind of slowly making my way through until I saw the landline. I was like, okay, cool, finally I can just call my mobile. So I picked it up, and I was like, I didn't know what would happen. I didn't know whether there would be no signal at all, or whether it would go to voicemail. And so I just dialed in, and then something weird happened. That I looked at my mobile phone I was holding right in front of me, and it lit up instantly as I called it, and it played its silly jingle. And I was just staring at my phone, like transfixed. And it was in that moment that I realized that nobody's coming. And only when I got home and started to feel a little bit better physically, that it really got to me the significance of everything that's happened. And I gotta tell you, when I would go on my nightly walks, I was just so overcome with anger. I would just scream because I had to get it out. I couldn't understand what was happening. I couldn't understand what was going on. Like why? Am I a bad person? Do people just not want to be around me? What's happening? Like, why did my friends disappear at the time when I really needed them the most? That's what I just couldn't believe that. And I started to think through it, on a logical level, to try to understand it. And I found, it really came down to three reasons. You know what? The first reason was that really people are afraid of death and dying, in a big way. And kind of me having cancer brought up their own issues around mortality. And the second thing was that, people don't want to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing because they don't want to feel stupid or insensitive. So sometimes they just prefer to do nothing at all. And look, and the third thing, of course, is that sometimes you kind of just go your own ways in life. And sometimes you don't really see that because we're all busy, we've got our own lives going on. And sometimes it takes something like as big as cancer to kind of just come in and just explode in your life, to really bring things up that maybe, you're not really close anymore. So all of those things were explanations to what's happened. But the more I was thinking about it, the more I realized that all of these things don't matter. They are explanations, but they don't make my life better, even if those people were pretty much erased from my life from that point on. But what was crucial to me is, how do I move on? How do I make sure that I do my absolute best to make sure that this never happens again? And I started to think, well, what do I want in life? What is important to me in terms of my personal beliefs, in terms of my personal values? I realized that what I really want is to have people around me who genuinely care for me, people who have genuine interest in what I'm doing or my life or how I am. And as soon as I made that into a distinct value, I know it sounds so basic, but when I thought that this is going to become my motto, in terms of like having friends who genuinely care for me, that it's going to take time and I'm going to get there. I'm going to find those people. And just as they're going to find me, but I wanted to really make it something that was really true to me. And finding that connection, finding that answer within myself, in my own values, in my own beliefs, in where I am and where I'm going in life, that has made a tremendous difference because it gave me an enormous clarity about what I need to do next, about the type of people that I'm looking for, about the type of interactions that I'm going to pay attention to, about how I'm going to invest my time and energy into people, and what do I really expect from them. So that creates a tremendous clarity in your life. When you are in touch with yourself, with what you want, with your beliefs, with your values, that's when you get so much greater clarity about what's going on, about what's happening around you and your place in the world and what you need to do next. So when challenges come up, when problems happen, when you look on things that happened in the past that really still make maybe your life challenging right now, what really makes a difference is when you look at it from a perspective of having a peace within yourself and knowing who you are and where you want to go. That gives you an enormous clarity as to what's happening so that you can make decisions, so that you can act in a reasonable way to deal with these challenges, to overcome these obstacles, to move past those events that have really caused you trouble in the past. And what a better way to do it is to have like a quick way to touch in with yourself, with your own values as a daily practice. I'll tell you what works for me. Because I do this now on daily basis as part of my morning routine. What I have is I have this little ritual. I have this little ritual where I'm in the garden. This happens after I have my coffee. I go out and I think of all the people that have helped me grow. Of the people who I think of each person, and I try to think of kind of a situation or a happy memory that's connected with them, of how they'll help me grow in my life and along the way. And that really brings me in touch with myself, with who I am now, with the person I was before, of kind of that journey from the past towards now and towards the future and towards what I want to have in my life. And I find that it gives me so much clarity about, going forward in life, and it gives me a lot of strength in looking at challenges that come up and talking about how I can deal with them. So I hope that this has helped you. I hope that this is something that can help you as well in your building up kind of that perspective, to have a clear view of what's going on around you, not by jumping in with perhaps logic or analysis, but instead to focus in on yourself, on your own beliefs and values. And that gives you a greater clarity about where you are and where you want to go in your life. It will make overcoming challenges something that is manageable, something that is hopefully reasonable, so that you can build up your resilience without becoming overrun with these things. It's kind of like our body's immune system, right? That only becomes stronger if it mounts a reasonable response to disease. So I hope this has helped you. Once again, my name is Joe Bakhmoutski. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching this. I'll see you soon.